The Fair Fight. Is this some kind of joke? You want to invite the Knight Protector into the stocks? I'm pretty sure they won't go for that. The Reeve looked genuinely hurt. My Lady Griffonsbane, I can assure you that people will positively queue up to pay 5 rings to throw a wet sponge at a Knight Protector. They'll be fighting each other for the chance. I'm sure they will, the lady responded in a droll voice. But I'm rather more worried that Rydian de Rondel will not feel quite the same enthusiasm for your idea. Not just them, replied Tristan, his enthusiasm undiminished. The others too. And we could invite any geyser that wanted to dress up as an Eternal to take part too. We could even do it as an unofficial contest. See which of the realms can raise the most money for Dawn. If we can convince enough folks to do Winter, we'll have enough to muster a new army. Lady Griffonsbane raised an eyebrow and peered at the Reeve in obvious disapproval. None of this sounds very glorious. The Reeve just laughed in response, his eyes twinkling with mirth and mischief. My lady, trust me. You arrange the tourney and leave the rest to me. Not only will it be glorious, but it will be glorious fun. Something I think we all could do with right now. Lady Griffonsbane did not look entirely convinced, but the Reeve's excitement was infectious, and with a slight sigh, she nodded her agreement. Wonderful, the Reeve exclaimed, clapping his hands together purposefully. Now all I need to do is find a gang of sticky-fingered children to sell toffee apples, and maybe some jugglers, and we will have a fair such as hasn't been seen in Anvil in absolute years. The coming summit at Anvil will see a medley of tourneys held in Dawn to find the most glorious. Lady Griffonsbane, the Knight of Roses, has invited all those who have completed the Grand Tour to take part in a special tourney to be held at Anvil, in the heart of the Empire. All are invited to witness the event, but entry will be reserved for those who have participated in all 4 stages of the tour, who have fought in the many tourneys held in each of the 4 Dornish territories. The lady's plan is to crown the tourney champion and present them with a fine magical prize created specifically for the occasion. To ensure every part of Dornish life is celebrated, the Reeve, Tristan Tanner, has suggested that the Yeofolk of Dawn could take this opportunity to join the celebrations and enhance the prestige of the tourneys by arranging an impromptu fair around the Glory Square. He is arranging the festivities, providing everyone a chance to socialise, enjoy the revelries and entertainment, and take part in any competitions that have been arranged. To help ensure the fair is successful, the Reeve asks all the worthies of Dawn who are able to do so to take part, to bring their music and songs, their wares for sale, their tales of glory and love, their challenges of wit and skill. In addition to the fair, and the final challenge of the Grand Tour, there is also the regular tourney to decide who will become the new Knight Protector of Autumn. This year the battle may be even more hotly contested, thanks to an additional prize, awarded by agents of the Hidden Prince. If that were not enough, there is also a contest of arms to help the Dornish Assembly pick the challenger in waiting. The contest proved controversial last autumn, so the Civil Service have presented some proposals for the good people of Dawn to consider. Their decisions are more timely than ever, since if the throne is likely to challenge for Monarch of Dawn, then many expect that challenge to come soon. The Fair. To celebrate the culmination of the Grand Tour, and Dawn's triumph in the Barrens, Tristan Tanner has planned a fair to take place once Lady Griffonsbane's contest begins, and running on for an hour or more until all have had their fill of the revelries. He has spoken to fellow Reeves in a number of noble houses across Dawn to spread word of the plans in the hope that the Yeofolk of the various houses will be free to help with the festivities. More than a few have already replied, indicating that they will provide something for the fair, including the Reeve of House de Castellon, who hail from Spiral Castle. Fairs are places to trade, socialise, and enjoy the entertainments. Most of those present will likely be Dornish, but they are open to everyone at Anvil who wishes to attend. The Reeve has extended an invitation to the Academy to encourage those young students who are interested in making a ring or two to attend the fair with their wares. The Reeve hopes that there will be stalls selling items of interest, as well as stalls offering traditional fair games for those who wish to partake, with prizes for the winners. Of course, the more noble houses support the fair, either by creating their own stall if they can, or simply by gracing the fair with their presence if not, the more impressive the entire celebration will be. The Reeve hopes that if the fair is a triumph, it might even become a regular occurrence each autumn. The end of the line. A year has passed since Dawn completed their conquest of the Barrens. During that time, there have been impressive tourneys held across Dawn, with groups of knights, witches, and troubadours touring from one grand celebration to the next in search of glory. With this grand tour now coming to an end, Lady Griffonsbane has invited the most dedicated of those involved, those who managed to take part in every stage of the tour, to participate in battle one final time, but this time at Anvil. Her plan is to crown the tourney champion and present them with a fine magical weapon constructed by the Moonweavers, a cabal of artisans who dwell near the Summerstones. Any participant can choose to name someone to champion them in the fighting, or find someone who would be willing to don their girding. In all, just 16 citizens had the dedication and commitment to compete in every stage of the Grand Tour. Almost all of them are Dornish, of course, several questing knights and witches, as well as a knight-errant, an earl, a troubadour, an enchanter. Besides these ardent seekers of glory are two unlikely figures, a retainer from House Vexil, and a sentinel from Morrow in Urizen. Whatever their status, noble or yeofolk, all 16 are invited to compete together in the final stage of the Grand Tour. Provided the Glory Square is available, Lady Griffonsbane will host this final contest in the square, immediately after the Grand Tourney to elect the Knight Protector and the senatorial voting are concluded, expected to be shortly after 2:30 on Saturday. Rather than a grand melee, Lady Griffonsbane has said the contest will be a sequence of one-on-one fights, with the winner of each bout proceeding to the next round. The only thing that is not allowed is the use of potions during a bout, though competitors are allowed to refresh themselves with a potion while waiting to face their next opponent. There will be 4 rounds in all. The losers in each round will be eliminated. The winner will be the victor in the final contest. To celebrate the victor's triumph, the Egregore has employed a cabal of artisans, the Moonweavers of the Summerstones, to create a beautiful magical weapon for the winner to bear for the coming year. The Weavers of Culloch. The Weavers of Culloch were inspired by the creation of the Grand Tour to announce that they would present one of their extraordinary instruments to whichever troubadour or bard produced the finest original composition, ideally something that celebrates the triumph in the Barrens. They've asked the Dornish Assembly to choose the winner, and to use a statement of principle to name the artist and state which instrument would serve them best. If the judgment gets a greater majority, indicating wide support for their choice, then the Weavers will fashion the named musical instrument so that it can be presented to the glorious victor. Last season, Lord Valar de Gauvin fell just 20 votes short of a greater majority, with their judgment to recognise Emmeline Weaver and their song Race for the Barons as the best piece of music to commemorate the victory in the Barrens. If the Assembly doesn't uphold a statement of principle with a greater majority on the matter this summit, then the opportunity will lapse. A Knight in Autumn. Each season, the Dornish elect one of the 4 Knight Protectors by tourney. This summit is the turn of the Knight Protector of Autumn, currently held by Torag Meliora, the Earl of House Meliora of Astolat. The Earl has held the title before, so they will be one of the favourites to win should they re-enter. The tourney takes the form of a grand melee, the winner being the last participant standing when all others are defeated or have yielded. All Dornish nobility are eligible to participate in the tourney, which is then followed by the election of the Senator of Semerholm. Each Knight Protector is expected to help Dorne deal with the realm they represent, and in particular to be the first to stand against any threat that might issue forth from the realm. In practice, incursions from the realm of autumn are often less likely to pose a martial threat, at least compared with summer, winter, or spring. Perhaps for this reason, the Hidden Prince, the sovereign lady of the City of Gold and Lead, has taken an interest in this year's contest. The Invisible Hand is offering a prize for the winner, a boon from the Autumn realm, a torque made of twisted threads of brass, copper, and black iron. According to the herald, Ataraxis, the twisted torque was fashioned on the Street of Coils in the City of Lead and Gold, using strands of copper and brass drawn from every city in the realm, and twisted around a thread of metal dug from the Black Iron Mountains at sunfall. The twisted torque can be invoked just once, to invoke the aid of the High Merchant, bringing prosperity and affluence to a single territory chosen by the Knight Protector, or whoever they give the torque to, for the coming season. The Eternal's Herald has given the torque to Lady Griffonsbane, with instructions to present it to the new Knight Protector of Autumn once the tourney is decided. A Challenger in Waiting. The position of challenger-in-waiting was announced by Valentin Ivarovich Orzel using a way leave during the summer solstice 385 YE. House Orzel have always been a very martial house, and it seems that the new position was intended to follow that tradition. The announcement stated that the position be appointed following a tourney in the same style as the seasonal grand tourneys that appoint the Knights Protector. However, there is no legal requirement for the National Assembly of Dawn to follow this convention, and after the first contest concluded, the National Assembly chose the Earl of Fools. The challenger-in-waiting has a responsibility to scrutinise the virtue of any potential challengers to the Monarch of Dawn. In practice, it is not completely clear what this actually means. One suggestion is that it is the challenger's job to organise the martial forces of Dawn to oppose those who line up in support of the throne should they challenge for the position of Monarch of Dawn, thus allowing them to scrutinise the virtue of the challenger. But others believe the title's responsibilities imply that the position is intended to verify the virtue of those who put themselves forward to oppose the Monarch of Dawn, perhaps by challenging them to combat. This confusion alone would be enough to prevent the civil service from designating the position as a martial title. The title could only be decided by a tourney if the responsibilities substantially encompass the need to partake in battle. To make the situation clearer, Bedegrain, the self-appointed leader of the Silver Nightingales, has a proposal for the Senators of Dawn to amend the position of challenger-in-waiting to grant the bounty of the chapel to the Silver Nightingales in return for their committed support for the position, and to set the responsibilities to be to take the field against the throne when they challenge for the Monarch of Dawn to ensure their virtue is sufficiently tested, the challenger-in-waiting to be a martial title appointed by tourney. If that Senate motion is passed, then the position would become a martial title appointed by tourney. It would no longer receive any liao. Instead, that would go to the Silver Nightingales, who would use it to continue their work. In return, they would provide the challenger-in-waiting with knightly redoubt, a triumphant blade, and oak heart shield once each year. In addition, they would provide the challenger with a single dose of elixir vitae and 1 dose of Ossian solution each season. The alternative might be to amend the title to make the responsibilities of the position crystal clear. Bedegrain suggests the role could have responsibilities similar to those of a troubadour, to measure the virtue of the throne, should they challenge for Monarch of Dawn, and to spread the word of what they find, encouraging nobles to stand for or against the throne on the tourney field. Of course, any clarification is possible, but in that case, Bedegrain suggests that the Senate motion drop the suggestion of a tourney. It is perfectly fitting for the Dawnish Assembly to appoint such a position, but they argue it is unbecoming of Dawn to host a tourney for the title if the contest does not then decide the matter. In a nutshell, Bedegrain's argument is that the Senate should modify the title so that either it is an appointment by the Dawnish Assembly with responsibility for the virtue of those who challenge, or do the opposite and make it a martial title, appointed by tourney with the responsibility to fight against, or for, if the Senate prefer, the throne. Either option is acceptable to the Nightingales. Their desire is to see the situation clarified and the matter settled. It would be unusual, but given the tourney is being arranged, the complications with the title could be settled one way or another, and the position still elected at this summit, provided the matter passed the Senate before the tourney for challenger-in-waiting is due to begin on the Saturday afternoon, currently scheduled for after the election of the senator for Semmerholm.